Premier is here. Premier Heating and Air is offering rebates starting at $1,000 with the purchase of a new heating and air system. Upgrade your system before the summer heat is here. Premier Heating and Air offering free Wi-Fi thermostats included with the purchase of a heating and air system. And now pay just $89 for a system checkup. Experience the Premier difference today. Or log on to dublin.premierishere.com. Premier Heating and Air, a locally owned and operated company.
Welcome everybody. I'm glad to have with me today my good friend Emily Rayleigh. We have not been together in so long. We better not talk about how long. I think your daughter was just born, but it's been a while.
It has.
But isn't it fun to get together and talk about OFTC?
Always fun.
Tell us what's going on right now.
Well, we are in the middle of our summer semester and, just getting students geared up, and before long we'll be starting our next semester, which is fall. Starts kind of mid to late August, so we're gearing up, getting students connected to the resources they need to get their applications in and get through financial aid and get started in their programs.
Something special is coming up in July, right?
Yes.
What is that?
In July, we have free application month, so that is a time set aside where students can apply and the application fee is waived. They do the application online, so that's $25 saved. It's a great opportunity if people are thinking about it.
And speaking of online, I was talking to some kids yesterday that they're doing online this summer. It's changed the way we educate, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, so many of our classes, we have so many options for our programs, and the way that our classes are taught, some are in person. Even the in-person classes will often still use, online resources, but we have the fully online programs, and then we also have some that are a mix of both. They'll do some on campus and some, online work as well.
With over 100 fields available, there's a lot of online there. It's got to be. But online does not mean you're all alone, does it? You can still get help.
Yes, absolutely. The instructors are generally still local. You still have access to campus to take advantage of the resources we have. Tutoring, the library, all of those resources are available to our online students, even still getting involved with student life events if they want. And then you still have resources like tutoring available to online students as well who maybe can't be on campus. But, online or in person, we're committed to help our students.
You know what I hear most about people? They want to, like non-traditional students especially, they want to go back and, I can never do it. I just never was good at math or whatever. But the biggest thing I get is, I just don't think I can afford it. Well, we've got resources available here on campus to help people with financial help, don't we?
We do, and one of the great things about technical education in general and OFTC in our local area is that our tuition is just so much less expensive than a traditional four-year college or university. So already out of the gate, you're looking at an affordable option. And then that being said, I was just actually looking at some financial aid numbers earlier today, and like more than 75% of our students receive some type of financial aid support. Whether it's through the state of Georgia, through the college, different college scholarships made available through the foundation, you can afford college at OFTC.
Yeah. And one thing, every time we do a show, I bring this up, and I had somebody at the gas pump of all places say, did they really help that woman with her gas? I said, yes, she was on the downhill trot and she could not finish up. She had run out of funds, she didn't have the gas, and that's what that foundation is for, is to, fill the gap, I guess is the best way to put it. But, but based on that question and watching his face, it's kind of unheard of, number one, and people say, they really do that? That's the kind of relationships that you form with these students, isn't it?
Yes, so we have different resources. One is our foundation, that they have a number of scholarships available, and those can actually be found in a list online. But I think one of them they call it Last Mile Fund. Like they just have different pots filled for different things to help students. And if it's like $100 that's keeping you from paying
Yeah.
from coming, like we're not going to let something like that stand in the way. And then we also have a group called WIOA, which I think is Workforce Innovations and Opportunity Act, and they're a group that we actually have somebody on campus, and it's their sole. It's an outside entity that's WIOA is here on our campus, and they actually will help students who are in need. If you can use that money for gas, daycare. Resources for school if you need scrubs or a computer, backpack, whatever it is, they kind of help determine the amount based on each person's situation and qualifications. And, hey, if you don't have transportation, here's money that you can use to get someone to give you a ride. So
yeah, that's unheard of. You go to, and I'm not knocking universities, but some people, that's the place to go. Not everybody. As a matter of fact, you've heard me say this, Mr. Louis Livingston, we were sitting on his back porch in his Florida room one day, and he was talking about technical college, trying to get one to Dublin. I said, well, what in the world you need a technical college for? I had never heard of something like that. He said, James, everybody don't need to go to a university. He said, if you were going to teach or do certain things, yes, but we need HVAC people. We need diesel mechanics. We need these other jobs, and there's no need for you to go. Look at the Allied Nursing Program here. Look what an addition that's been to middle Georgia, central Georgia. It seems like we expand every time I talk to you, all these other satellite offices or schools, but everybody is not cut out to go to these universities, and they're wasting their money anyway when they want to be a diesel mechanic.
Right.
And let me tell you, they make more money than somebody that's been to a university. There's a lot of money, or truck driving,
Yes.
We've talked about. But what do you think about that? Do you think that's a plus or a minus?
Well, there's a lot of things to consider when someone is thinking about, going to college. And, something that I always try to bring up when I have the opportunity to talk to this, especially with, younger audiences, high school students, you're told your whole life, like, you go to school, go to high school, graduate, go to college, get a good job. I'm like, so what's the purpose of, getting that higher education? Well, it's to get a job. Okay, well, you have to think about what kind of job do you want, and not just thinking that that's the only path. 4-year colleges and universities, it is a path, but it's not the only one. And, everybody knows that, but when you actually look at it and you say, okay, when you graduate with this 4-year degree, how much money can you make? Well, look, we have options that you can graduate with this 2-year program or less, and are making more or the same. So it's just, you have to kind of consider different things, but it's definitely a good option to consider. Plus,
you got a job 99% of the time when you graduate from Oconee Fall Line.
Absolutely.
Your instructors, they're guiding them through it, and let's say truck driving. He's already this company. He's already setting the stage for them.
Yeah.
And they start out, it's less than 6 months certificate, I guess what it is, but you start out making $1,000 a week or more. That's pretty good money right there.
Yeah. Well, our truck driving, all of those programs, whether we're going to find you a job, our students, our current job placement rate, I think, is at 100%. So our students are getting jobs, or they're going on to further their education. So there's definitely something to it.
Yeah. So you just tried to beat my 99%. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I had to update you. Told you I was looking at my statistics earlier.
She did that on purpose right there. But that says a lot. But you have a vested interest in these students' lives. And that's what I see at OFTC versus a lot of other places.
Well, we do, and when you talk to our president, Erica Harden, all the time, she's always refocusing on our mission, which is workforce development, and so developing a local workforce. And all of our programs are strategically designed to help build up the local workforce in our communities. And so it is a vested interest. We all live here and work here, and everybody is, wants to see our students succeed.
Yeah.
We want to see our communities thrive. We want these students to fill these jobs, and it's always a really proud thing when you go and you're somewhere, maybe a medical facility, and you see the students. And I know some of our folks, like Dr. Adams, she'll be like, "Where'd you go to school?" And they say OFTC. She's like, "Okay, good." So.
Yeah, and you've heard me tell the story when I'm getting tests run. They'll say, "Mr. Steele, you mind if I have a student out here? Could they come in and observe?" I said, "According to where they went to school." She said, "Well, Oconee Fall." And I said, "Yeah, tell them to come on in." But I say that to you most of the time. Let them come in and observe. They're not doing the test, but they have to learn.
Yeah.
And they need to see just a real scenario going on. There's only so far the classroom training is going to take you. You need to be there in the hospital, in the doctor's office, whatever it is. So you can learn. So you brought up Erica Harden. What do we got coming up at Oconee Fall Line this year? We talked about summers going on. Fall will be here before we know it. Are there any new courses going on? Do you see anything new? I know we had the new truck driving facility a couple years ago now, seems like.
Yeah.
What plans are in the making? I know the Stewart building, there are going to be some updates there, aren't there?
Yes, so we're currently in phase 1 of that project. I think that's a phase, but where you can't really tell a lot when you're just driving by, but a lot is going on inside. I actually walked through there today, and it's been a couple months since I've been in there, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for this building, because we're going to have new labs for a lot of our trades and industrial programs, and just a better flow. That building is pretty dated, so this has been
the first one.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and so we're excited for our students to be able to, go into a facility like that and just really take advantage of the atmosphere as they're here to study. So that's something exciting. I don't have like a tentative date for when that will be completed. You know how those projects go, but we're excited that it's coming together.
Well, we're in the Livingston. You heard me talk about Mr. Louis a while ago. What a remarkable man, a mentor of mine. He was the kind of guy I could say, "Mr. Louis, I messed up. I can't believe I did this." And I'd tell him the scenario. He said, "Oh, James, that ain't nothing. Just do this and do this. It's fine. You didn't invent that problem." But he was so methodical, and he would never just answer a question. He'd always, you could tell his mind was turning. And when he told you something, it's kind of like the old E.F. Hutton, people going to listen when Mr. Louis had talked. And we're in the Livingston building now. And I always love walking by his portrait back here when I'm here and just look at him with the gratitude and the love that I had for him. And I love when I talk to Catherine Wilcox, or I was with Lisa recently at something at the country club, I think. Now, I never get to see Claire. She's up in the mountains doing her, I guess, bed and breakfast and making wine or whatever she's doing up there, but I never see her anymore. But he left quite a legacy here on this campus, didn't he?
Yes. We're grateful for that family and what, how they believe in our mission and what we do here.
And their tie-in with Marsh Bank and the Tools Foundation, the Tools Awards. And see, they're graduating, and that tells you how much you think about these students. They're graduating. I mean, most people say, well, they're gone. I mean, we're done with them. But no, we're giving them tools to go do their job. It may be scrubs, it may be HVAC things, or it might be tools or whatever. It's all tools, I guess, but they've already graduated. So why is it still important to do those things?
Well, like, so we're with the student from start to finish, and, they're graduating and they're going into the workforce. A lot of times you don't necessarily think about, well, what are the resources and tools, in a general sense that you need to be successful your first day on the job. We know you're trained with the knowledge and skills, but, we want you to, a lot of times the trade students, they have to have their own set of tools, or if they have them, that might be a selling point for them, when they're interviewing them for a job. So we just want our students to be set up for success, and we are a family here at OFTC, and we want our students to be prepared, and we want them to feel that. So that's we love that program.
Yeah, it is great. And you're telling them one more time, we love you and we want you to do good.
Yeah.
We want you to be successful. And we've done a lot of success stories, you and I. You've set them up for me, but I always love those kind, and I couldn't dare tell your name. It was Allied Nursing, because we were upstairs in the lab, but she had went to, at the time, Heart of Georgia Tech. If I talk about it long enough, you're gonna remember her name.
Yeah.
And then
I know
her
who you're
kids
talking
got
about.
grown, and she come back and got her next degree once the kids got grown. And at that interview, she actually had grandkids. So, but she never forgot. She told me what Oconee Fall and Heart of Georgia Tech, same thing. What it meant for her to come here and the love she felt. And it was good enough where she come back and improved herself even more.
Yeah.
I was almost to say her name, but those are the kind of success stories. Or Lana Rogers, the story of her in the Allied Nursing program, and her grandmother had gotten failing health and had to bring her to live with her, and she kept on going to school. She ended up graduating. Her grandmother passed away, but her daughter, and I love following these things through, her daughter just graduated at West Lawrence. And I told her at the time, just think what you're teaching your children.
Yeah,
when
I
they see their
remember.
mom working so hard and getting the grades, it just shows. My daughter went to nursing school, and it's hard. In that RM program, it's very difficult. But her oldest child saw Mama work that hard.
Yeah.
And of course, he's in gifted now, and he works extra hard. But I think a lot of it's to do with how he saw his mom, because your parents, I don't care how old you are, you hold them a few notches above everybody else.
Right.
But I love those stories, and I could go on and on with some of them. But we're going to have one a gold finalist. He didn't win, but he was a finalist, right?
Yes.
Talk about him.
Yeah, so Richie is one of our diesel students, and we've talked before about through the technical college system of Georgia each year, all of the TCSG colleges have a student and instructor of the year, and so we go through this whole nomination process and interview process, and we select, a number of students, like I think maybe sometimes not usually more than 5, who are kind of like in the running, and then you have, your finalists, and then the one who's selected goes on to the state level competition and kind of competes amongst all the other technical college winners to become TCSG's representative of the year, for instructors and students, just to talk and promote about technical education and the impact. And so Richie was one of our gold students who was nominated this year, and his story is just amazing. It's powerful. He has had a challenging past, but has, completely turned his life around, and a part of that process was, doing something with it. And so pursuing education, and he's just a great student, and look forward to y'all having an opportunity to get to know him a little bit.
Well, we've been trying to get together, and he's from out of county, and he can only come. We're filming this later in the day. A lot of times we do them early, but when we know somebody like this young man, we're going to jump through hoops just to be able to share his story.
Yeah.
Because you may be sitting there now, And you think, well, my story, there's no way I could go back to school because I'm handicapped here or here. No, we'll find a way. And you talking about somebody jump through hoops. Now, Dr. Adams, I have watched her. She will, I mean, she won't, she's like a bulldog. I mean, she gets her teeth in it and she ain't letting go. And I've seen students, like these job fairs, they come up and you remember me, and she knows every one of their names. I don't know how she does it because I can't remember names. But those are kind of relationships that are formed here in there.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's just not something that when you come through our doors, you know, if you need help, someone's gonna, you know, growing up, it was like my mom always taught me, you know, when you're at church, if someone comes in and they're looking where to go, don't just point them and tell them. You get them and you take them. And so that's just a, you know, physical example of, you know, that's how we are. I mean, we're family, we care, we want to help the students who are here. And it's like Dr. Adams, she's not the only one like that. There's, you know, I won't say everyone's a bulldog. Not everyone's going to stick their teeth into you in a good way, but, you know, we're all here, you know, we want to fight for our students. And
well, all of you have that vested interest. You want them to succeed.
Yes.
Okay, we got somebody else coming up today. Tell us about
Yes, so Ms. Carrie Fountain, she is one of our practical nursing instructors. She was our instructor of the year at the college. So she was that winner at this at the college level to go compete at the state competition with all the TCSG colleges. And their competition is Rick Perkins Award winner. And you know, there's a story as to why it's called that. It's named after an instructor who meant a lot for the technical college system. But basically, it's just kind of honoring somebody who has made a great impact at our college and on our students and in what they do every single day, and just truly embodies, you know, who we are at the college. So when we knew we were going to get Richie, who was one of our students, I was like, you know, let's make the most of James's time and let's talk with Carrie too.
Yeah, good. That's going to be good. We've had some really good stories, so we're going to take a break here in a minute. You want to stick around for that. But is anything before we go that you want to add that we hadn't talked about?
I think just, you know, don't be afraid to reach out, you know, ask questions. If you know somebody who you think could benefit, might be you, might be a child, a relative, you know, give us a call, check us out online on our website. Again, we're gonna work with you, whether you start here and go all the way to your career, or whether you start here and you move on to more education. You know, our path, we have so many different paths, really.
More than one way to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, thank you, Emma. We hadn't talked in a while, so we usually have no agenda in mind other than to talk about how good OFTC is, don't we? We can do that good.
Yes, always easy to do with you. So.
Well, I appreciate that. Y'all stay with us. We got more to come.
If you measure your lawn by the acre, mow it with the #1 selling diesel zero-turn mower series for more than 5 years. With comfort, with durability, with the Kubota ZD. ACS deck technology for improved cutting performance, responsive and durable shaft drive transmissions, hands-free hydraulic deck lift, and all-day comfort. No matter how you measure your lawn, the Kubota ZD delivers. Visit your local Kubota dealer today.
Products you can count on, a name you can trust. That's Midstate Tractor and Equipment.
Hi, we're Dion and Gary Lanton. We're the new owners of Luann's Biscuits and Burgers. We want to invite you guys to come out to our newly renovated dining room. We're open 5:15 a.m. through 10:45 a.m. Monday through Saturday for breakfast. We now offer delivery and pickup online at our website, luannbiscuits.com. You can go through our menu, order anything that we have on the menu right there, have it delivered to you where you are. We're at 1010 Telfair Street, so come on out. The coffee is hot, best in Lawrence County. The biscuits are fresh. The doors are open. We invite you to come back to Luann's.
Welcome back, everybody. I have with me now Carrie Fountain. You heard Emily and I talking about you over there. Some people talk behind your back. We talk in front of your back. So you heard everything we said. So tell us about your job and what you do on a daily basis.
Okay, well, I'm a practical nursing instructor, and I teach maternity dose calculations, pharmacology, leadership, and mental health.
So you got a plate full.
Yeah.
What's the most fun part of your job?
The most fun part is probably maternity clinical, getting to seeing the students witness a birth for the first time, getting to work in the nursery, getting to be at clinical. That's probably the most fun part.
And how long, I know you come from another technical school, but how long have you been here?
I actually came from public health for
Okay.
22 years, and then
Wow.
I've been here 5 years.
What
So,
made you make the jump?
to be honest, I was struggling physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's in my speech. That's what my speech is
Yeah.
about. But and I needed a change. And I was just stagnant in my career. And as nurses, we felt like we need to make a change. And I thought, what better way than to help shape the next generation of nurses?
Yeah, and with a degree like that, the sky's the limit. If you want to change course and do something different, it's wide open there. And let's talk about the Allied Nursing Program. I touched on it a little bit a while ago, but that has made an incredibly large footprint on this technical school here on Oconee Fall Line. What do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree, very much agree. We have the LPN program, that we call it the PN program. We also have the new ASN program, so we're competing with other colleges. It's a 2-year RN degree, and then our LPN students can work a year and apply in Bridge and Sandersville. So a lot of our students do that. So there's different options to do.
I remember, I don't know how many years ago, Emily and I were talking. We did a show on the Bridge program. It was going to start like the next year. Now, how long has it been here now?
I'm not sure. I've been here 5 years. It's several years before I was here. Yeah.
So yeah, it's we were talking about off camera a while ago about how time flies, and that's what I'm getting to is, you know, seemed like just yesterday we were talking about it coming, and now it's been here several years.
Yeah.
And it's really made an impact on these kids' lives, these young people's lives. Maybe they're not all kids, but that Bridge program is just amazing, isn't it?
It is. It really is amazing. I think they even have students that come from as far as Atlanta. So it's a really good program.
Well, it's tough. I mean, it's hard to get in a school. You know,
Yeah.
You got to be patient as a man or woman. You know, to get in nursing school. A lot of time, I know my daughter. It took her 2 or 3 years to. And even then, she had to drive to Albany.
Right.
And it takes quite a commitment on behalf of the student to want to do it. And of course, by nature of what a nurse is, you got to be patient. You got to stick with it. You got to try to figure
Right.
things out sometimes. So it probably goes hand in hand. But that's where the Bridge programs come in.
Right.
It's opened the door for people that wouldn't have had it otherwise.
And it's also, I forgot to say, it's also for paramedics too. Paramedics or LPNs. The
Okay.
Bridge program is, yes.
So somebody watching right now saying, "Oh my goodness, my mom was she was a nurse. My mother was in healthcare. My dad, and I just don't think I can do it." What do you say to that person?
I always tell people there's so many different options. Like I worked public health for 22 years, which was with children with special needs, but now I'm teaching, and there's so many different options you could do with nursing. It's not, a lot of people say I don't like blood, but it's not just about blood or giving shots. I mean, there's so many different avenues you can go and choose from.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and a lot of Oconee Fall Line students have ended up at Fairview Park Hospital. Michael Kersey, as a matter of fact, was a graduate here and went on to lead the radiology department here at Fairview, and I believe he's taken another job at some other larger hospital. So it all started here.
Right, right.
And I remember interviewing him at the hospital, and I said, "Well, where'd you go to school?" And he told me, Heart of Georgia Tech. And it's just amazing that he ended up with that kind of job, but it started here.
Right.
So if you listen and reading between the lines, you got to start somewhere. And you can start here, and then you can go anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. I was actually meeting with I'm not going to say who it was, but somebody in a very high position at one of the hospitals, and didn't realize it, but she was a high school dropout took her GED, came here when it was hard of Georgia, and now she has her master's degree. But she is pretty high up at a hospital. I had no clue, but there's been several people I've met that I did not know that came through here to
Isn't
start
that
with.
incredible?
It is, it really is.
And of course, we got graduation this week. We'll air it starting this weekend. But I've been at graduation and see people go up and get their GED, and a couple years later, they're walking up on stage fill in the blank. They're getting these other degrees or certificates. So you get, no, it doesn't matter if you graduated high school or not. Maybe you did go. My dad, back in those days, he couldn't graduate from high school, and later on he went back and got it. But it don't matter how old you get.
Right.
You can do these things, and with the help of Oconee Fall Line, you heard Emily talking about it a while ago. We've got people that we can put you in that peg, whatever it is. And you have a lot of different personalities here and a lot of different jobs, but one common denominator is we want to help.
Right.
We want you to be successful. So, tell me how it feels when years down the road you're at wherever grocery store and run across a student and they're doing good. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. Like, it happened yesterday. I was at Fairview Park on 6th floor, and there were 3 of my past, and I've only been here 5 years, and there were 3 past students. And I was like, I actually put my students with them yesterday, so it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling, and I'm proud of them.
Yeah. What do they say? Tell me some examples of what they say about the school.
What they say about the school? They say it's a more caring environment than other schools they attended, that they know that we care and that other people care that are at the school, that we were there for them. You know, we help them, we want them to succeed. So I actually get upset when they don't succeed.
Yeah.
But it's a more caring environment, I feel like.
Well,
Not saying other schools aren't, but I
that's
just feel
right.
like it's a more.
Well, we know here is.
Yeah.
We do know that. What else did they say? You were about to say something else. What do they say about the other instructors? What do they, what's some other feedback you get from these? I keep saying kids. They're kids to me, I guess, but I used to think 40 was old. Now it's just a young'un to me. But what other feedback do you hear?
They always talk about how we as the instructors, and I do feel like we're family, but how we act like a family and how we look after them, and they know we have their best interests at heart. They like to talk about stories about us after they get out, but just funny stories. They like, because I don't want to start naming names like the instructors. I'll probably forget somebody, but they just always talk about how we were there for them. And I had a student text me the other night, and she's in Atlanta now, but she wants to come back and do the bridge program. And she said how much and she said that we made her feel competent when she was when she's at her jobs, because she's had a couple of different jobs.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So, what about when you was in school, the instructors you remember fondly? My teachers, my professors, the ones I couldn't stand turned out to be the best ones I had. I didn't know it at the time, but because they're pushing you. And sometimes as a young person, you don't want that. You want to kind of go at your own pace, and they're pushing you. So when you look back now from a 7th floor, what made that good instructor, and what have you learned from that?
It's funny you asked that. I was telling the other instructors before I came down here, I didn't know you were going to ask me that, but it's been 30 years. This month, June is 30 years since I graduated nursing school, so I really don't remember a lot, but I do remember we couldn't reach out to our teachers. Not saying they were not good instructors, but we didn't have, I sound really old, but we didn't have texting, computers, email. We just went to class and did what we had to do. But I am still close with 3 or 4, and I went to Middle Georgia, so I am still close with 3 or 4 of those instructors. But I do remember they were there for us, but it was just different times back then too. It wasn't as easy to be there for us as.
Well, Middle Georgia has always been known as a tough nursing school, but yet almost 100% pass that state test.
Yeah, it was 100% pass
Yeah.
rate, but we have a 100% pass rate too.
Yeah,
So,
but that shows you
yeah.
how prepared.
Yeah,
I like how you work that in. You
we
just
do.
roll right with it. You heard me ask Emily a while ago before we go, is there something that you would like to say before we go to another break and bring somebody else in, but a word of encouragement or advice? Would you like to add anything?
I would just say if you're thinking about nursing, come talk to us, give us a call. We're always here for you. We'll always advise you. I had a student come the other day, or a possible student, gave her a tour of the whole entire building. We're here for you. We've had somebody that was 78 go through the program, so don't ever think it's too late or you're too old.
Well, one of our success stories, I go to church with her, 87-year-old lady, come back, and she's a parapro at West Lawrence, and she ain't planning on retiring.
Right,
You know, you'd never know this lady's 87 years old.
right.
And she wasn't, most women you don't tell their age, that's a no-no, but she's proud of it. What she's accomplished, what she does, and she's making an impact. She works with special needs kids.
Right.
And it's just the most incredible thing, the love that she has. So, and right here's where she got her education. So,
Yeah.
you can, like we said a while ago, you can start here and go anywhere.
That's
you can go
right.
anywhere. So, well, thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to us. And we got more to come. Stay with us.
I didn't choose this line of work. It chose me. Those days when it seems impossible to get everything done are the days I live for. It's my passion. If you do what you're passionate about every day, you'll never work a day in your life.
Hi, I'm Greg Carter with Shamrock Honda Kawasaki CF Moto. Come check out our full lineup of ATVs, side-by-sides, and motorcycles. We serve Dublin, Lawrence, and Central Georgia areas, and we'd love to serve you.
The Houston Clinic is located in the heart of Dublin, in close proximity to Fairview Park Hospital. Dr. Gay and Dr. Richter utilize state-of-the-art equipment and the most up-to-date treatment available today. The Houston Clinic conveniently offers on-site physical therapy. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So call for an appointment today at 478-353-1166. Dr. Gay and Dr. Richter look forward to serving you at the Houston Clinic of Dublin, 100 Medical Drive, Suite 400. The Houston Clinic, providing state-of-the-art care closer to home.
Welcome back, everybody. As promised, I have Richie with me now. We were talking about you earlier. Emily, you've met Emily Rayleigh in between commercial break. We've pretty well built you up to the story that we want to talk about. And that is, first of all, what are you doing here at Oconee Fall Line? What course are you taking?
I'm taking diesel equipment technologies, man. I'm trying to develop a career course for myself.
Yeah. What brought you to this point?
I love mechanics. I've loved mechanics my whole life. My daddy instilled it in me.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's something to be said about that because, number one, you'll always have a job. Make killer money.
Yes, sir.
And it is an admirable field to be in because you're gonna have work to do. If you maybe work for somebody else, may do it yourself, but you're always gonna have work. That knowledge that you've gained here at Oconee Fall Line,
Yes, sir.
nobody's gonna be able to take it away from you.
No, sir.
Now, you had a hard path to where we are right now. I want you to share with our viewers a little bit about your background because I told you before we started some of the shows I've done and the people that we've helped through those stories. And if we can just help one person watching right now, it'll be worth talking about it. Share with our viewers the path that you was really on. It was a bad path.
Yes, sir.
That got you here. Share that with us.
Well, somehow, James, I've weaved my way through drug addiction, gang affiliation, prison, stuff like that, man. And I just got tired of the life that I was living. I got tired of going to prison. I thought to myself all the time, there has to be a better way. And there is, and I'm living it now.
Yeah.
So all the bad that I was doing led me to where I'm at today, and I'm thankful for that.
Amen.
I don't regret nothing,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. If I wouldn't have experienced all that negativity in life,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known a good opportunity if it slapped me in the face.
Well, you know, it's those hard knocks in life that teach us the best lessons.
Yes, sir.
You and I both have been through those hard knocks. People watching right now, anybody's honest with themselves, we've all made mistakes in our lives, maybe different mistakes, but we've still, I told my Sunday school class Sunday, I said, one of the hardest things I had to do as a parent is to know your kids are about to mess up, but you got to let them mess up. So they learn from those hard knocks we're talking about right now, because you can tell somebody all you want.
Yes, sir.
But
You can.
if you had not have lived through, literally, what I read, you ought not even be here.
I shouldn't even be alive right now, man. I've been through so much, but it's no excuse. The reason I keep saying that I've been through so much is because it's what built me. It's what made me the man that I am today, and I'm thankful for it, like I said just a second ago.
Yeah.
So,
And you're from Louisville.
yes, sir.
And tell us where you work right now.
Whitestone Transportation.
Okay. And how did you come about that?
Well, it's a funny story, actually, man. I was working at Huddle House as a cook, and my boss, that's my boss today, at Whitestone, used to come in there and eat breakfast every morning. And, I just got to talking to him about a job and stuff like that. He told me to come fill out an application out there at Whitestone, so I did. I started as a trailer, spraying trailers down, making $12 an hour. And I've worked my way up the ladder. I'm making pretty good money now, man.
That is so good.
Yes, sir.
And don't you, on a personal level, forget about everything else, don't it make you feel incredible knowing you had people help you, like this guy that really discovered you? He saw something in you at that Waffle House.
Huddle House.
Huddle House. He saw something in you. You probably didn't even see in yourself at the time.
No, sir. I had just got out of, prison, and I was early in recovery, recovering from drugs and, trying to start a life. And I didn't even know how to do that at that time, but I've got a pretty dang good idea now.
You have, and you came here to Oconee Fall Line, and you have gained an enormous amount of knowledge, haven't you?
I definitely have, sir. Yes, sir. And I've acquired the certifications that I need to get a job virtually anywhere I want to in the mechanic industry, technician industry, whatever you want to call it. But the certifications are nothing without experience in the field, because anybody can get the paperwork, but it's what they can do to back that paperwork is what matters.
So as far as your goal, when you graduate, where do you want to go from here?
Up the ladder, man. I want to go as far as owning my own shop one day. I'm currently in the process of getting my CDL permit so I can get my CDL driver's license. And for a mechanical purpose, more or less. I don't want to be a truck driver, but it's just adding to the arsenal of things that I have under my belt when it comes to the diesel field.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's a route you're going to take up that ladder you're talking about, because as you go, like the experiences you and I have gained in our life, bad and good, whatever, and then same thing now, the school you're going through, truck driving you're going through, and all these different things, you're learning as you go.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's incredible. What's been the hardest, as far as school now, what's been the most difficult part of coming here. And I just think, I told somebody the other day, I think I'd fail the 5th grade if I went back to school, because the older you get, it's hard to acquire that knowledge and to hang on to it. So with all that said, what's been the most difficult part to you?
To be honest, if you wanted it as much as I wanted it, none of it is difficult. I mean, the education part, can be challenging.
Yeah.
But actually putting in the effort to come here, and I say my biggest worries were getting my homework assignments in on time. So that's it.
That'd be me right there. So,
I look forward to coming to school. It's not difficult for me at all to get in my car and come here when I'm supposed to be here.
and you and that's not just getting in your car and going across the street.
No,
You're
sir.
having to put some miles on.
Yes, sir. I drive an hour and 10 minutes each way.
Yeah. Now that's a commitment, Richie.
It is.
That is a major commitment.
Yes, sir.
You talking about 2 hours and 20 minutes of your day is in that vehicle,
Yes, sir.
coming and going.
It is.
Your first day of school, you're driving that hour and 10 minutes. What's going through your head?
Nervous. Not knowing what it's going to be like. Not knowing if I'm going to do good. Just typical stuff. Because at the time when I started school, I couldn't even tell you the last time I was in an educational environment.
So that's what you were thinking in that hour and 10 minutes coming. When you went home that first day, what was you thinking?
It's not going to be so bad. After I talked to my teacher, Miss Lewis, she was actually my guiding light when it came to my educational gains and stuff like that. She's made a massive impact on my life educationally as my teacher. I look at her like a mother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We were talking off camera when we got here, and you mentioned Miss Lewis. I had no idea who it was at the time.
Yeah, she's my the first teacher I've ever had here. She was my English teacher, and me and her have worked on a lot of different type things like the Gold Award. She was pretty much my goal coach for writing my speech and stuff like that. She helped me out a lot with that aspect, and so did my significant other.
So how long ago did you start?
Start what?
Oconee Fall Line.
2023, October 2023.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we talked about the thought process when you was coming and going home. Now, over 2 years later, what's that thought process coming and going?
Of what? Say that again.
What you're thinking about, like when you come and when you go home, you had, this is my word, anxiety, didn't know if you were going to be able to do it when that first day you came.
It's all gone.
Okay, that's what I'm getting to.
Just from doing what I'm supposed to do here. As long as you put in the work, you won't fail.
Yeah.
You won't fail. If you're hungry for it, you won't fail.
Other than Miss Lewis, who's been important to you here?
Here at the college?
Yeah.
Brent Redfern was my first diesel instructor. Okay. I loved him to death. Mr. Jeffrey White, my current diesel instructor. He's an amazing instructor, man. He's definitely got my back educationally in any aspect. And just, there's a couple other teachers that were never my teachers that, had become like family to me on the Sandersville campus. Miss Lewis had gotten me acquainted with all them, that little group of teachers on that campus. I mean, I don't even go to school there, but I just got a whole support system here.
I hear that a lot. I've interviewed a lot of students, a lot of success stories, and I hear that. I don't care if you're in a nursing program or whatever you're in. That's one of the most common things people talk about. What about other students? Is anybody that has been a good study partner? Have you steered clear of anything like that, or has somebody meant a lot to you?
Jacob.
He's in the backdrop.
Yeah, he's right
That's
there
why he's smiling
on his computer.
nodding. He's hard
Me
at
and
work.
him, me and him did this whole course, this whole time, this whole thing. We rode through it together.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's been in all my classes for diesel.
And I could tell, I didn't, till you just introduced him, I didn't know, but he's been hard at work since we walked in here. And we've been moving around, setting cameras up and doing all kind of stuff. He ain't paid us no attention. I've watched him.
He don't want to be on camera, that's why.
Well, we might change that.
I know that's right, man. I know that's right, brother.
Turn around that camera, huh?
Yes,
So
sir.
he's, y'all have, not just him, but y'all have meant a lot to each other, haven't you?
We've helped each other in this class. I feel that I've taught him some things, and because I'm in the field, you know what I mean. He's also taught me some things as well. Me and him, we just make a good team. Yeah. So
Somebody watching right now who don't think they could do this, no matter what class it is at Oconee Fall Line, OFTC offers over 100 degrees. So there's all kind of things to do. It may not be in automotive technology. There's no telling what it could be. With over 100 degrees, that's incredible. But what would you say to that person watching that's saying, I couldn't do what Richie's doing. There's no way I could do that. What do you say to that person?
you can do anything you put your mind to. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You could definitely do anything that you put your mind to if you want better for yourself. But you got to want better for yourself to begin with.
Well, you got to make your mind up. And as the old saying, mind over matter.
Yes, sir.
And you're right. You know, if you make up your mind you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And that's what you did from the get-go.
That's right. I wanted to have a life for myself, man. I wanted to go somewhere in life. I didn't want to be stuck with a dead-end job, having to worry about bills and all that, man. So
Well, you handling that.
trying to.
Yeah, you are.
I'm trying to, man. I'm almost done with school. I'm not quite where I want to be at in life yet, but I'm working towards it.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
getting
sir.
there. I just hearing your story before I got here and reading about you, and I've been trying a few months because you work. You know, it was later in the day, trying to schedule everything, but I meant somehow I was going to interview you because I know your story can change somebody's life that's watching us right now.
Just to hit a little bit more on my story. I was out there. I was using methamphetamines, and I was on methamphetamines for probably about 8 years, and I was infatuated with the lifestyle and how it made me feel until it didn't make me feel good anymore. Then I just started getting locked up and going to prison, and I just got tired, man. I wanted better for myself. I was either going to end up dead or back in prison for the rest of my life. So I chose the path that I'm on today, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Amen. I told you off camera I serve on the board at Teen Challenge, and our executive director, I felt like I'm looking at him right now because he was in a major gang. Some of his tattoos, what they say on his body, that he shared that, you know, the meanings of them. And now he's leading. He went to Teen Challenge because the judge made him. And he said, no, I ain't doing this. I'm not doing this. And lo and behold, if he didn't do it, he bettered himself. He was tired of that old life, and he's worked his way through, and now he's leading one for the Southeast region. So that shows you, his name's Jason, but it shows you he made his mind up.
Yes,
He's
sir.
going to change his life.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
all I hear from you.
So the people, the organization that I was affiliated with. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that on, you know, camera.
That's right.
The name of it and all that, but it's all over my body.
Yeah.
Some of them I can't get covered up because it'll just mess up all my other tattoos because they're blended in together, you know. But
It don't matter. It don't make you one way or another. None of that stuff matters.
Yes,
It meant something when you did it. I get that. It has a meaning or had a meaning. But now you've moved away from that, and we definitely don't want to talk about stuff like that as far as names, no doubt. But you've moved on from that life, and you headed up the mountain. That's all I see. You are headed straight up the mountain. And I wasn't going to say this on TV, but we were going to tape this outside. And some music come on out there, and we got kind of ill.
Yes, sir.
You got ill, I got ill. I didn't show it really, and you didn't really show it other than saying it. But
yeah.
But that shows me in a real life situation where you are right now, because you didn't want to hear that.
I didn't have, you know, back when I was a loose cannon, man, I would have had a short fuse with that situation, and I would have said something that I probably would have instantly regretted, but would have had to do something about because they got mad about what I said.
That's right. End up knocking heads.
Yes.
Yeah. And it wouldn't ended well either
Jail.
way. Yeah.
Jail, man. I'm not.
You don't want to go back
I'm
that
not
way.
about that.
Yeah,
No
you're
more.
not going back that way. Because the
Yes,
way
sir.
you handle that was like, it was a class act. You know, all this stuff I've been reading about you and talking to Emily about, and then I see, and we didn't plan that. I mean, we were trying to do a show out there.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and we
Yes, sir.
couldn't. And they should have knew what we were doing. There's cameras everywhere. And they see this. Anybody ought to know, hey, we need to kind of cut down on the noise here a minute and let them do whatever they're doing over there. But you did. You handled yourself with just amazing grace, is what I call it. You know, you was very graceful. You didn't like it, and I didn't like it. But we let it go and come on in. We found us another spot over here
That's
in the
right.
corner. And we're
That's right.
rocking on. We're
That's
not
right.
going, and you're not going to let things like that hold you back in the future.
No, sir. No, sir. No, that's definitely not an option for me. I'm always going to move forward or have plans to move forward. So
Okay, what's Miss Lewis think about you today?
she loves me to death, and I know it. And I love her too. She is an amazing teacher. She really is. She's an amazing individual. Sweetest, most kindest woman you'll ever meet in your life. Really. There's not a bad bone in her body.
Well, she's proved herself to you.
That's right. She has.
And if she loves you like we're talking about, you proved yourself to her. She's seen a new Richie.
she's seen something in me in our first class together that nobody's ever seen in me. She gave me the hope that I needed to have in myself to complete this schooling.
You could never, ever forget that.
Never. I never will.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. She made a massive impact on my life.
Yeah, to the day you die, you cannot forget about Miss Lewis when you walked in and she saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself. And she reached down in there and got it.
She did.
And
she woke up a beast.
Yes, she did.
She did, man.
Oh, you can tell. You're a different person.
I am.
And I didn't know
definitely.
you back then, but I can tell. You're just a whole different person now. And you will, even though she don't want nothing, you'll be always indebted to her. Not that she wants anything, but you'll always be indebted to her for what she's done to you and what an impact she's made with you.
Yes, sir. That's correct. She would never say I owed her anything for it because
No.
she literally lives to impact people's lives like this, and she loves teaching.
Yeah.
So
That's what a good educator does, because all of us are different, and they got to reach down there. I'm different, you different, next person's different, and they have to reach down in there and get that out of us.
She's the kind of teacher that'll stay up super late with one of her students on the phone and help them with their assignments when she doesn't have to.
Okay, last thing, the boss come in the huddle house every morning eating breakfast.
Yes, sir.
You didn't know him then, really. You might have knew he worked for Whitestone or whatever, or owns it or runs it or whatever. But
He just he runs the Georgia terminal
I
down
got
here.
you.
There's another terminal for us in Mississippi,
okay, but
and that's the original terminal.
he's the big boss here in Georgia.
Yes, sir. He's the regional manager, I believe. That's
Okay.
what it is.
So fast forward from that chance meeting, and you know what? The Word of God says that God directs our steps. And, you know, He put you and him on a collision course. God put y'all together, and that changed your life. That changed your life meeting that dude. What does he think about you today now?
He thinks I can get better at everything I'm doing. So that's what I'm doing, man. I'm getting better every day. He definitely challenges me to do better. So I do that.
Yeah, he's pushing you.
Yes, sir.
He's pushing hard.
Yes, sir. Sometimes he has a messed up way of pushing, but he does it. He does it now.
Well, he's getting the best out of you,
Yes, sir.
and he's helping you. You know, he wants to help you, just like Miss Lewis. Miss Lewis, she wanted to help, and she's done it. That woman's done it, and you got to give it to somebody like that can grab that talent, and like you said, bring that beast out of there, and make a change in your life.
Yes, sir.
So you know your goals, you know where you're headed, you know where you've been. Not going back there.
Definitely not.
Yeah, no. Oh, I know you're not.
That chapter's closed in my life.
Yeah.
I'm actually opening a new chapter with somebody that's very, very dear to me.
So, if you're writing a book, we talked about the first few chapters. If you could write that last chapter and make it anything you want to do, what would the last chapter of your book tell about your life?
The last chapter of my book would definitely tell all of the good things that I am reaping from all of the hard work that I've put in. And where I would be at. That's what it would say.
The end.
So I think that'd be a good ending to
You
a
better
book.
believe it. Be a good movie.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We on to something, I think. Maybe somebody's watching us now that may want to push that. But the only reason I ask you that because your mind's been turning the whole time we've been talking.
It has.
And you don't
has,
just
man.
say something. I can tell the kind of person you are. We only met 45 minutes ago, but you're the kind of person who don't just say something to say it. I can tell. You're real. What you see is what you get.
Yes, sir.
You're not trying to be something that
No, sir.
something else, somebody.
I don't care what anybody thinks
No,
about me, man.
no, you got to be yourself.
Yes, sir.
And you are, and that's exactly what you're doing. So, well, I wish you the best of luck. You're already there mentally. You've already made your mind up, and you're already there. You're out there. You're just getting to that point.
Yes, sir.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, brother.
Thanks.
Thank you
man.
for talking to me.
I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir, man.
You hear me?
Thank you so much. And if you want to call the TV station, if I can help you anyway, you know the number. Just give me a call. We'll be able to help you anyway. If Richie can help, you've heard something here from his story. You'll be glad to talk to anybody, wouldn't you?
Yes,
be
sir.
glad to help
I
anybody.
would definitely.
I can. Yeah, I already knew that. We didn't even plan this last part here, but I just felt called to say that if you're on the wrong road, if you don't have an education and you want to change your life, we can help you change your life. We can help you change your life, but you got to make up your mind that you want to do it.
if I can impact one person's life in any way positive, I've done my job.
Amen.
And it makes it all worth it.
Okay. Thank y'all for tuning in today.